Hello everybody and welcome back. Well, for today's vlog I was doing some research and trying to find out what a good topic would be, and I came across an article about genius. But most importantly, about genius in art. And not just any art piece, well, sort of a rock star.
I think I've seen this sporty fellow before. He was down by the beach trying to get a tan. But I think he was taller. Maybe it was his relatives. Let's go find him. Well, fancy meeting you here, and welcome to Forest Lawn. It's a cemetery. Actually, it's the first of 6 cemeteries here in Southern California. This one's about 100 years old, and when it first opened, they felt it was too depressing, so they built some statues. There's actually 1,500 statues on all the Forest Lawn cemeteries, but I've come to see only one, and that's Michelangelo's David. It's not the original David that was here when the cemetery first opened. That one was destroyed in the 1971 earthquake, but this one is just as impressive. Built to the same dimensions as the original, this copy of David is Forest Lawn's most popular sculpture. It's said that Forest Lawn is also the only place on Earth where you can see a complete set of Michelangelo's sculptures. As with other copies, though, the statue also shares the same weakness as its original, its legs. Cracks are a common sign of the extreme weight of the marble, and an ongoing concern due to earthquakes. Luckily, Forest Lawn has a long history of copies of David, so he's in pretty good hands. Well, it certainly is quiet and peaceful here at Forest Lawn in Glendale, and David looks great, but he's not the original. So where can I find the original? Maybe somewhere not so quiet and not so peaceful.
Added much later during the hotel's expansion, this copy is fairly accurate, but that's not usually apparent to the casino guests, since most people don't even notice it as they pass by. Well, unless they need a place to put their drink.
Well, he's 18 feet tall, 9 tons, and carved out of the same marble as the real David. But he's still just a copy, and I don't think he looks like the real David. Or you could come back to California, to Cal State Fullerton, where their David, well, it's like no other.
During the Whittier earthquake of 1987, Forest Lawn in Cypress had its copy of David fall over and break. The college bought the full-size statue, or what was left of it in pieces, and repurposed it to a new art installation called Fallen David. It's the same David, just in a different arrangement. Installation was not as easy as you'd think. Its extreme weight called for a specially designed underground pad for it to be anchored to. It's a popular location for art students, and for some, rubbing his toe or his behind is part of the superstition in getting a good grade for finals. It's probably one of the most unique installations of David you'll find around. Being that this is the Valley Vlog, it's about time for a cameo from Dad.
Hello. If you're wondering what happened at the Cypress location, they made it more rugged and replaced it with bronze.
Well said, Dad. Thank you. Yes, this version is much lighter and easier maintained than the others. It's a little different, and the only bronze version you'll find at Forest Lawn.
Well, there's actually a whole bunch of reproductions of David all around the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, various sizes and materials, like simulated marble or bronze or even plaster. But the best reproduction is a little farther than I care to drive, so we're going to have to take a plane.
Welcome to Florence, Italy. If you're looking for beautiful architecture, well, this is the place. And if you're looking for even more beautiful statues, well, this square is where you want to go. It's called the Piazza della Signoria. With construction dating back to the 1300s, a popular landmark within it is this statue. It's the Fountain of Neptune. And right nearby is somewhere called the Loggia dei Lanzi. Underneath it, you will find many different examples of some of the most famous art in the world, like Cellini's sculpture of Perseus holding Medusa's head, or the Medici lions. You can also find this very famous sculpture called the Rape of the Sabine Women, probably the most copied in Las Vegas next to David.
But as good as the one in Las Vegas is, it's not the original. It's not even a masterpiece. Now, something closer to a masterpiece is this David.
It's been here since 1910 and stands pretty much where the old one used to be back in the 1870s. Many of the visitors taking pictures think it's the actual David, which is unfortunate because we're going to see the real one just a few blocks away. That is, if my directions are right. I could sense I was getting close because David's name kept popping up in the strangest places. But once I saw the line, I really knew I was there. All that was left was for me to buy a ticket. This is the Galleria dell'Accademia in Florence, Italy. Founded in 1784, about 1 million visitors a year come here. This room I thought was very interesting. In it you'll find many fine examples of figures and busts that you'd find utilized inside tombs. Since there's a Fine Arts Academy nearby, no matter the time of day you visit, you're bound to see some students studying and drawing the museum's contents. One confusing aspect was that all the statues had dots on them. I couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't read Italian until I saw a video that said, well, it's where they make the molds. But with all this artwork, the true star of the show is the work of Michelangelo. Originally planned and constructed to be placed high up on a rooftop, it was later deemed too heavy and placed here in 1873. You might notice his proportions are a little out of whack, and that's because they were supposed to be viewed from far away. Some things, like his hand and head, bigger, and other things, smaller. In the 1800s, a copy was presented to England's Queen Victoria, who quickly put 2 hooks in and a fig leaf to cover up for modesty. David stands on a glassed-off, independently suspended pedestal that protects him from vibrations that might add cracks to his fragile legs.
That is really beautiful.
Now, having found the original David, there was one last thing I wanted to do, but it was an hour away, and I was fighting time for daylight. If I could make it, it would be an adventure. I just had to get on a train. Completed in 1372, I had returned to this tilting wonder to climb its 296 steps to get to the top to see its 7 bells. The tower tilts about 12 feet at the top from the center, and recently, within the last couple of years, reopened after a lengthy renovation so it wouldn't tilt anymore. But for me to get inside, first I had to go find a ticket. Well, they moved the ticket booth on me, so I have to walk on the other side here, past the cathedral and all the other things. But I don't think I have enough time to go up in the tower now. It's a long walk, and I'm out of breath. I've been running pretty quick.
Well, based on what I can see, the Tower of Pisa is a real crowd pleaser. And about 90% of all the tourists who come here try to take a picture where they're holding up the Tower of Pisa. Now, since I'm holding the camera, it makes it kind of difficult, but here's my attempt. I tried.